Good afternoon and welcome to the 7th Annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture. I'm Hector Wheeler, your moderator. The Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture is held each year as a tribute to transformational leader, the late Joan Duncan, who believed in the empowerment of Jamaicans and that ordinary people should not be left out of wealth creation. So strong was her conviction that she did something about it. Mrs. Duncan partnered with Dr. Noel Lyons to establish the Jamaica Money Market Brokers, JMMB, which is currently one of Jamaica's leading financial institutions. Each year, the Joan Duncan School of Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership at the University of Technology, Jamaica, after whom the foundation was made, partners with JMMB, Joan Duncan Foundation, to bring you this lecture. Visionaries from different sectors present on topics relevant to entrepreneurship and leadership, which some attendees have described as life-changing conversations. This year, we look at digital entrepreneurship, breaking boundaries. I now take the opportunity to welcome Acting President of the University of Technology, Jamaica, Professor Colin Giles, and Chairperson for the JMMB Joan Duncan Foundation, Mrs. Patricia Duncan Sutherland. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Very much.
And we begin with Professor Giles. Professor Giles, tell us about UTech Jamaica's involvement in this lecture.
It is my pleasure to join in welcoming our viewers to this 7th renewal of the annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture under the theme Digital Entrepreneurship, Breaking Boundaries. The annual lecture is led jointly by the JMMB Joan Duncan Foundation and the University of Technology, Jamaica, through the Joan Duncan School of Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership, JD SEAL. In 2011, the university's then School of Entrepreneurship was renamed in Joan Duncan's honor. Prior to that, UTech Jamaica and the JMMB enjoyed a long and productive relationship dating back to the year 2000, when the Joan Duncan Chair was established at the university to conduct research in the areas of finance and ethics. Since 2013, the Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture has focused on one or more areas, including the areas of entrepreneurship, ethics and leadership, areas covered by the Joan Duncan School. The lecture honors the memory of Joan Duncan, who was a pioneer in the money market business. The lecture honors her vision and passion for Jamaica's growth and development. The inaugural lecture incorporated all three of these areas and focused on the implications related to Jamaica's new legislation on marijuana. In the area of entrepreneurship, the memorial lecture has also looked at how Jamaica can mine gold in sports and music. The lecture has also examined ways of enhancing Jamaica's corporate and political leadership practices. The 2020 lecture on digital entrepreneurship has come full circle in looking closely on the timely and relevant topic of finding growth opportunities in the global digital landscape. As we all know, the world has changed forever, and we must embrace the fourth industrial revolution and living in the digital age powered by science and information communication technologies. At the same time, we are learning to live with a new paradigm stemming from COVID-19. It has been evident that no sector has been spared this global crisis. Sectors such as tourism, trade, entertainment, sports, and education, just to name a few. All these have been impacted. A very wise person once said that we should never waste a crisis. And so this is part of the reason why we are hosting this discussion today. We want to provide you with information about available opportunities, even within the context of current realities of the crisis. It is noteworthy that already we have seen where many businesses have made the digital transition and have implemented measures to engage customers virtually. We thank our presenters, Tyrone Wilson and Stacey Kirk, who I note with pride are graduates of the Technology Innovation Center, TIC, Incubator Program, also housed under the Joan Duncan School of Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership at UTech, Jamaica. We are happy that they have joined to share their collective expertise and experiences on successful digital entrepreneurship. The JD Seal is the first school of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean to have an active business entrepreneurship incubator for startup businesses, which are typically technology-based. For the past 20 years, TIC has produced many successful graduates, including our two presenters here this afternoon. The JD Seal is also the first school of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean to offer a specialized BSc degree in entrepreneurship. The school graduated its first cohort in 2014. All students from across colleges and faculties at UTech Jamaica have the opportunity to be exposed to principles and practices of entrepreneurship, which is also offered as an elective. This year, the COVID-19 pandemic has necessitated us changing gears and the format of the lecture to a televised broadcast. But our discussion today promises to be no less significant than the last installments of this very important lecture series, which highlights topical subject matters of national concern. I invite our viewers to sit back, relax, and enjoy what promises to be an informative and enlightening presentation. Thank you so much for joining us.
President Giles, thank you very much. Let me now turn to Mrs. Duncan Sutherland. Mrs. Sutherland, welcome again, and sincere condolences to you and your family on the passing of Dr. D.K. Duncan, who was considered a champion of the people's rights.
Thank you so much, Hector.
And so too was your mother, Mrs. Joan Duncan, the woman after whom the foundation was named. At this time, I invite you to tell us about the foundation's interest in this lecture.
Thanks very much, thanks. You know, Tyrone, Colin, good to be here, and Stacey's online, are going to be joining us. I just want to say to our viewers, you know, this is the first time that we're having the lecture on TV. And what an opportunity COVID has given us. Now we get to share the lecture with the whole of Jamaica at the same time. So, you know, the Chinese say they have their symbol for crisis. Has one side danger, one stroke for danger, one stroke for opportunity. This is what the opportunity that has been created for us at JD Seal and in this lecture. You know, yesterday we celebrated Daddy in a particular way, a Jamaican way, with our 9th afternoon because we have curfew, so we can't do night, right? And what is good about it as well, the great opportunity it came about, was that the digital world had to play a great part in how we celebrated, to allow us to have that kind of connectivity and to allow us to have that kind of intimacy while being apart. And this is what is created in this opportunity. So today, you know, as Joan Duncan Foundation, JMB Joan Duncan Foundation, part of our job is to see how we can get the best out of everybody. And we want to get the best out of Jamaica. We want to get the best out of the wider world. And, you know, Tyrone and Stacey have been in this digital space now for over 10 years. They are experienced in this space. But the great opportunity, again, that comes out of COVID-19 is that everybody has to pay attention to your space and understand how that space can become a shared space for all of us, and how that space can become even more empowering for all of us. And so for me, this is what I look forward in today's activity, in today's conversation, because I want us to remember it must start with the conversation, you know. That today I was listening to some tributes for Daddy, you know, they say you first have to have the theory before you can have the practice. This is part of developing the theory in your mind to work out how you are going to participate as you listen to those who have been practicing in this space. And so I'm excited about today's conversation. I'm excited about being here. And I feel very, very proud that both Tyrone and Stacey, our presenters for today, are products of UTech, products of TIC, products of Jamaica, and are very well accomplished in the digital space. And we can learn from them. Today is going to be a great conversation. Thank you all very much for joining us.
And thank you so much, Mrs. Duncan Sutherland. To our participating audience, of course, we will be inviting them to join us via social media. To participate in the discussion, we invite you to send your comments to the social media pages of JMMB and UTech Jamaica, #Joan Duncan Lecture. Let's now take a look at the life and work of the trailblazer and innovator herself, Joan Duncan.
Joan Duncan was eccentric. Joan Duncan, the mother, was fun. Joan Duncan, the mother, was honest and direct. She was human, most of all. Fun, second of all. Every other cousin wanted to be where she was.
A real, genuine spirit. No put on, no nothing like that. She's just who she is. Just who she is. I mean, no pretense whatsoever. She didn't know how to pretend or be something else. She was just raw Joan Duncan.
She related to us not like mother, child, like, you know, that kind of thing where you have this hierarchical kind of arrangement or that kind of thing. Mostly it was spirit to spirit. Nobody better than anybody. She had that is the kind of woman that she was. She honored everybody. Yeah.
There was an expectation in society at the time, when Mommy was growing up, of what a woman would do once they became adult. And there was an expectation that you would become that housewife, be that wife in the home and be the homemaker, etc. Right? And
I was not expected to go and get a university degree.
Right, was not expected first of all to go and get a university degree, which she wanted to. Which she went to go get it, and then when she went to go and get it, she didn't complete. But she was supported by her mother, you know. But still, without her mother understanding why she had this desire, and yes, her mother again supports her, but still not understanding. Then why do you want to become this executive in the bank and work so hard? It's just not the thing to be done.
Dr. Noah Lyons called her because he knew that she had this idea, and he had a similar idea. So he called her, and they had lunch. She saw the opportunity because having worked in the area that she worked in investments, there was a missing there. There was a gap there that she thought that we needed to fill that gap. He was at Jamaica Venture Fund, and so she went into action immediately. And within 3 weeks, she wrote the business plan, everything, modeled out everything. And when she presented, almost everybody to a man wanted to buy into that company. Mm-hmm. She was, because she had an idea from before, she had a vision from before.
Right.
But the beautiful thing about it too is that she was not just an ordinary company she was creating. She was creating a company that was consistent with her values and who she was. A company that was going to be based on love, openness, equality, equity, that kind of company she was creating. Openness, you can be a human being, you share your feelings, everybody free to be exactly who they are, coming from love.
So when she come with this love thing, they were like, what is wrong with this woman? Where is she going with this? She don't realize it's business. But then the competitors underestimated the power of love.
She wanted that in every interaction. Mm-hmm. She wanted to make sure she was in touch with the Holy Spirit, manifesting that, but also that there was good out of every interaction. That's our mission statement, you know. Again, that is from best interest of everybody.
Yes.
Recognizing that all of us are contributing to the profit. That was very important to her.
Like,
But at the baseline, so there was a livable wage, so therefore there was a minimum salary that you should earn.
That's
Oh, yeah.
right.
Because everybody should be able to own a home, you know,
Yeah.
even no matter how small it is. And then there is the sharing in the upside with the employee share ownership
Absolutely.
plan.
And the profit sharing.
She insisted on that profit sharing from the very beginning.
That foundation, the values, the vision of love, the equity, the principle of equity and willingness to share, this is what has created the foundation for JMB, and we still continue to build on that.
Her legacy that she'll be proud of is that is being passed on. It continues in every interaction with anybody who comes in contact with JMB. And it continues, and I can say in her children that we have chosen it and we strive for it to create that kind of space. And it continues in her grandchildren, and that inside of her grandchildren, that they, through us, we have been able to give them the space to choose who they would like to express themselves as. And so the box has been completely shattered. That's her legacy. Yeah.
Duncan Memorial Lecture. We take a break right now. We'll be right back.
Reduce your risk of viral illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing with a tissue and dispose of it. Avoid close contact with anyone with a cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or the nearest health center and share your travel history. The flu and coronavirus can kill. Let's protect each other. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Reduce your risk of viral illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing with a tissue and dispose of it. Avoid close contact with anyone with a cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or the nearest health center and share your travel history. The flu and coronavirus can kill. Let's protect each other. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Reduce your risk of viral illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing with a tissue and dispose of it. Avoid close contact with anyone with a cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or the nearest health center and share your travel history. The flu and coronavirus can kill. Let's protect each other. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
You're watching the 7th Annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture. The theme for this year's lecture is Digital Entrepreneurship, Breaking Boundaries. With the world facing COVID-19 pandemic, the theme is timely. The International Labour Organization, ILO, was reporting up to June this year that there was an expected 14% drop in working hours globally due to the coronavirus pandemic. As the world grapples with COVID-19, businesses have been forced to send home workers and make positions redundant. But here's an idea. Why not try digital entrepreneurship? And for those who are already way ahead of the game, those who are in the industry, why not create new opportunities and expand your venture? If you have never heard of digital entrepreneurship, or if you are seeking new opportunities in the industry, our next presenter will tell you all about the industry. Mr. Tyrone Wilson is dubbed a serial entrepreneur, having founded 3 companies so far: eZines Limited, Vertical Creative, and iCreate Institute. His niche is combining the creative and cultural industry, an area which he's a visionary. This afternoon, we speak with Mr. Tyrone Wilson in his capacity of founder, president, and CEO of iCreate Institute. Mr. Wilson, thank you so much for joining us. And tell us, digital entrepreneurship, what is it? And is it a good industry for Jamaica?
All right, thank you. First, I'd like to thank the JMMB Foundation, Joan Duncan Foundation, and the UTech family for having me. It's always a pleasure to come back and share, somewhere where I nurtured my entrepreneurial spirits and discipline. So really a pleasure to be here to speak about digital entrepreneurship in such a transformative period. COVID-19 has changed so much, and want to encourage individuals to push their business to consider moving on digital platforms as a means of surviving, starting new businesses, and so forth. And digital entrepreneurship, to me, my specific topic that I'll be speaking on today is understanding the digital customer journey, which is a key part of growing any business online. How we understand people's interaction on a digital platform, on the various digital platforms around the world. So in short, the digital customer journey is the part the customers take from initial contact online to a conversion, which is pretty much a sale. And there are many different digital platforms or digital channels, but the top 5, in terms of interactions, mobile, which we all use, or phones and so forth, online marketplace aggregators like Travelocity and those travel platforms who aggregate content and deals and so forth. Video, which is one of the most consumed content types online today. Display ads, which are, if you go on an app and so forth, you'll see an ad that pops up. Those are display ads. And of course, one we can't ignore, which is email. So those markets are, those channels are 5 of the top channels as it relates to digital. But in understanding the digital customer journey, there are 5 other areas that we have to contemplate. All businesses, whether it's a little vending shop on the road that is looking to move to online, or a bank like JMMB, a financial institution looking to go online, we have to consider the digital customer journey is consisted of browse, compare, contemplate, purchase, and returning customers. And I know I don't have a lot of time, so I'll try to go through these as quickly as possible. The browsing stages on the digital customer journey is typically the same as if you enter a store. I'm just browsing. I'm looking if I like this pair of shoes or whatever it is. It's the same online. Individuals engage with your website as a means of browsing. They want to see what they offer, what you have available, and so forth, and to see if this is a company that they want to purchase, whatever it is that they're looking for. They might move on your social media pages, right? They might look at buyers' reviews. So they might go on some of these platforms that do reviews and so forth, and to see what customers have to say about your product. And they might also look on videos that you would have developed. We like to call these the acknowledgement layer. So these are pretty much videos or any other content type that really introduces the customers to your product or service. Apple, for example, is really good at that. When they introduce a new product, you go on the website and you see a nice video about how they build the product, what it does, all of these things and so forth. That's in the browsing stage. And during the, the browsing stage, in terms of businesses moving online, there are some tools to consider to use. CRM tool, those are customer relationship management tools such as Monday.com, sales platforms such as Salesforce. They can look at automation tools. We're in the fourth industrial revolution now, so it's all about how do we automate our processes and so forth. So like Zapier is one tool that connects all the different platforms that you use so that they can communicate with each other and automate your process. So an example is someone go on your website, but like a product, they request more information. They get an autoresponder with the information, and then within that link, they can buy. Within all of this that is happening, all of that is on your Salesforce, for example, or your sales management tool, and you can track these things. And because it's digital, there's a footprint that is left. And that footprint brings a buyer persona. You know, start to understand who are the people that are interested in your product or services. Because it's online, the part about data, availability and so forth, if you're logged in with your Twitter account or your Facebook, a company that is selling on the back end knows that, you know, Donna checked out this and, you know, she is between ages this and that, and she works here and she does this. So right away you start to get a buyer persona involved, and that's part of the key part in terms of the digital customer journey. The second stage is compare. You know, once someone goes on your website, you can't assume they only will be going on your platform alone. They might want to check out another institution to see, you know, if the price is the same. They want to see what customers are saying, if they, you know, they hate your product or they love this one more. And within that stage, you start to get to understand the audience demographics and so forth. You know, what they like. You start, the preferences begin to reveal within they leaving that kind of digital footprint, right? Male or female, you know, color they love, the platforms they visit in the last 24 hours, all of these things are available. And it creates such a dynamic opportunity for businesses that are looking to go online. Because, you know, when someone just walk in your store, your physical store, unless they fill out a survey or something, you really don't know they were there. You don't know who they are. You might just capture them on video, but you don't know what's the name, what's the age, all of these things. Digital creates an opportunity for you to immerse yourself in data to help to, you know, have more informed customers and to serve them more. Third one now is the contemplation stage, similar to the browse. But as a business, right, that is, you know, conducting transactions online, during the contemplation stage, you have a lot more resources available to you. So if someone comes in a physical environment, you really just, unless they leave the number, you're not able to really call them or follow up with them. But on the digital scene, once they start to leave that footprint, their email addresses, all of these different things, their social media platform, they like the picture on your Instagram, you know who they are. During the contemplation stage, now you can now, you know, have content marketing strategies. Content marketing, for example, is a subtle way of promoting your product or service to a group of individuals in a non-intrusive way that really doesn't annoy. It's not like an ad. It's really like, you know, like this video, for example. This is content marketing, right? This is content marketing. We're sharing content in a non-intrusive way with viewers right now about digital entrepreneurship. And that is one way in which on the digital marketing platform, digital customer journey, we get to engage with people in a more interactive way, right?
Right. And I know there's so many things that we want to pursue along this line. But Tyrone, there is a question for all our viewers joining us via social media. Yes. We're going to take a question and we'll have more questions later on.
No
okay?
problem.
But we'll take one now before the break. Are the digital technologies and infrastructure that is needed to operate a fully digital business widely available? Would you say that?
Definitely. There are a lot of free software out there, trial versions that start, you begin to try those out and then move into more advanced ones. There are a lot of open source platforms. Just typically when you look at Google for Business also is one way that is available also.
Okay. Thank you very much. We go to a break in a while. Just to remind you that you may join us and link us via hashtag Joan Duncan Lecture. Just go to our social media pages, JMMB UTech or UTech Jamaica. We take a break right now and we'll be right back.
Reduce your risk of viral illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing with a tissue and dispose of it. Avoid close contact with anyone with a cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or the nearest health center and share your travel history. The flu and coronavirus can kill. Let's protect each other. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Reduce your risk of viral illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing with a tissue and dispose of it. Avoid the flu and coronavirus can kill. Let's protect each other. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Reduce your risk of viral illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and...
Thank you for staying with us. And if you're just joining us, welcome to the 7th Annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture. We're talking about digital entrepreneurship, breaking boundaries. And in this segment, we'll now speak with Ms. Stacy Kirk, CEO of Quality Works Consulting Group in California, USA, which is an international software consulting firm. Now, Ms. Kirk, thanks for joining us. So far, we have been looking at the strengths and opportunities in digital entrepreneurship. Tyrone Wilson, what is your view on this venture?
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be here today. This is a very unique time in history, like nothing we've ever seen before. There is no response plan that could have prepared us for this year. We've experienced job losses either personally or within our family. But there are companies and businesses that have succeeded despite the pandemic. I can't go more than a day or two hearing about the successes of companies that were able to pivot. And so as a solo entrepreneur, as a corporate entrepreneur, this is a great time to come up with a new plan and strategy. When I started my company, one of my first companies 20 years ago, I had a little personal funding and a crazy idea. And that company was short-lived, mainly because I didn't do a lot of planning. And so when I decided to expand my Los Angeles operation to Kingston, I did not want to have that same mistake again. And therefore, I spent 3 months planning and detailed research, creating a business plan that I needed in order to start my company. And it was very valuable that I did that. It allowed me to get into the Technology Innovation Center, TIC, and it helped with the execution on my first year. But I have to tell you that the days of having those 30-page business plans are over. If you would do what I did 5 years ago and take those 3 months, you really have, you risk losing an opportunity, the opportunity to take advantage of what consumers and businesses need today. I was fortunate to be exposed to something called the Lean Campus. And it's something that I use with our clients and we use when we have a new product or service that we want to initiate. And you can go online and you can print this out. It's one page. And I want to share with you what it means to be lean and how you can use the Lean Campus. You first will start with understanding your problem. And that means being able to create a short description with the 3 top problems that you want to solve. And then you want to look at your customer segments. Who are the customers and the products that you want to service? And then can you create the segments for those customers? That could be local versus foreign. That could be student versus teacher, or maybe it's by their interests. And then you want to understand what is your unique value proposition? What are the primary reasons that you are different and unique and that users will appreciate what you have to offer? And then what is your solution that demonstrates that value proposition? As Tyrone mentioned, there are many channels and strategic partnerships of how you plan to reach your customer. Jot those down, along with understanding your costs, your fixed and variable, and then your revenue streams. That is, how are you going to make the money that you need? What are your ways of getting the earnings? Is it subscription? Is it through time and materials? And then the last area is probably the hardest, which is, what is your unfair advantage? That is something that you can do that is not easily copied or bought. I encourage you, like I said, it's one page, fill that out, and it replaces what used to be that 30-page business plan. And then you're not done. There's a critical step that often a lot of entrepreneurs miss because you're so excited you have a plan and you're ready to go. And that is validation and testing. And as Tyrone mentioned, the importance of the customer journey, you need to know now as a next step, will people buy your product that you're offering? And will they pay for it? You have to test often and validate. And I'll repeat that. To build a great product, you have to test often to build something great. And there are a few deliverables in terms of what you do for testing and validation that I'll share with you. And they go in stages of time and complexity. First, they start with a proof of concept. A proof of concept focuses on answering the question, is what I plan to do feasible? Can it be done? If you are selling shoes, that is, can I get the products that I need, the supplies I need to sell it? If you're building a technology, is can this technology be built? It's something that you can do with your advisors, you can do with the people within your organizations and friends. The next step after that is building a prototype. Now, the prototype looks at the customer's perspective. And is this something that they want to buy and would purchase? You can do this one, again, with your advisors, but also you want to target customers that can give you real feedback. You don't want to necessarily use your friends because they don't always give you the real truth that you need to hear. And then the final stage was building an MVP, that is a minimum viable product. And we've been taught, many of us, that we need to think things out thoroughly. We need to make sure that we finish everything completely. And then we'll share. The problem with that is that you build something that only has your perspective. You don't get other people's feedback and what they value in it. So I encourage you to find the smallest product or the smallest service that you can offer. This is how Jeff Bezos built out world domination with Amazon, starting first with books and moving to everything else. When I came to Jamaica, I started with one service to validate that there was feasibility and viability, and then grew from there. And there are many tools that can help you. If you're a freelancer, I encourage you to use a local-based freelancing platform, The Hive. If you are trying to get a digital presence, you can now do that in a matter of hours, not months, using tools that are on the internet to help you. And I want to leave you with this. If you've been an entrepreneur or had an entrepreneurial mind, you probably enjoy working alone. But keep in mind that part of digital entrepreneurship and global entrepreneurship is making those strategic partnerships that will open 10 times more doors than you can open on your own. It is key to working smarter, not harder, and to unlock a global marketplace. Where I can be of help in my company, I encourage you to reach out. I thank you. I thank the TIC for giving me an opportunity to grow my business, and I wish the best for everyone else.
Okay, thank you so much, Stacy. That that's really some good points there. Now, I know that your firm revolutionized how quality web and mobile applications are built and delivered. You're also very involved in cybersecurity. I want you to tell us at this time what are some of the threats to cybersecurity and that digital entrepreneurs should be aware of?
Absolutely. Hackers are, they look for opportunity. They look for people or businesses that are not secure. And so small businesses, new digital entrepreneurs are at risk more so than ever through phishing, through spam or spyware. There's many different ways of malware, many different ways where they will try to attack. And so I encourage every entrepreneur to go and do their research. There's training online of best practices, two-factor authentication, firewalls, antivirus, not clicking on emails that have strange domain names. And so make sure you start, because there is actually a 60% chance that if a small business is attacked, that they will not last 6 months. So we want everyone to last. We want them to grow and to succeed. So keep in mind that hackers will go after you because they know that you do not have a team of cybersecurity analysts working for you. So you have to do your own due diligence.
Okay, we're going to take a social media question here. How can an entrepreneur moving his or her business from a brick and mortar establishment to a fully digital setup?
Yeah. Well, some of the tools that I mentioned, you can create a website literally in about an hour. There's sites like GoDaddy and Wix that make it easier now than ever to even set up an e-commerce site, to set up a site that allows you to do services development, take payments online. It seems very difficult, but they have really, especially now since the pandemic, made it easier than ever for restaurants to get online and to have online delivery, pickup of clothing. They understand, these technologies understand where we are right now in the world with COVID, and they're making solutions every week to make sure that people in brick and mortar can get online and continue to be successful with their business.
Okay, Ms. Stacy Kirk there, thank you very much. We're going to take a break. Don't move the dial there. We'll be right back.
Reduce your risk of viral illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing with a tissue and dispose of it. Avoid close contact with anyone with the cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or the nearest health center and share your travel history. The flu and coronavirus can kill. Let's protect each other. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Reduce your risk of viral illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing with a tissue and dispose of it. Avoid close contact with anyone with a cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or the nearest health center and share your travel history. The flu and coronavirus can kill. Let's protect each other. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Reduce your risk of viral illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing with a tissue and dispose of it. Avoid close contact with anyone with a cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or the nearest health center and share your travel history. The flu and coronavirus can kill. Let's protect each other. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Welcome back. You're watching the 7th Annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture, and we've been speaking with Tyrone Wilson and Stacey Kirk, entrepreneurs. Now, just before we take some more social media questions, I want to go first to Tyrone Wilson. Tyrone, you were actually taking us on a 5-point journey, 5-step to digital entrepreneurship. I just want you to close in on that journey for us, please.
Okay, so quickly, it's a browse, stage, compare, contemplate, the acquisition, which is a purchase by the customer, and of course, the customer repeating another purchase.
Okay. And some more questions now. We'll take some more questions from social media. And before we go, I don't know if this is where you want to come in, Pat, because we don't have much time.
So we can have a fulsome discussion, you know, because Stacey made a really nice presentation a while ago. Congratulations, Stacey, as well as, you know, Tyrone. We know of Tyrone's thing on the ground. But I want us to relate this a little bit to Jamaica. And the Jamaican landscape.
Agreed.
Because we don't have the same level of penetration of the digital, our digital footprint is not as wide. How do we see us deepening that process in Jamaica of the digital entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it now is moving to the mobile devices.
Right.
And I think we have a strong penetration there, and the access to data and so forth is getting more, you know, available amongst, you know, when we talk about my view on digital entrepreneurship is it can't just be the big businesses. You know, it's that little man in half a tree, the vendor, you know, who can make payment, collect, have that stored in a digital wallet, push his business online, and attract his customers and make his money. So there are many tools available on the mobile devices for people like those on the go that can grow in that space.
So it would be developing that whole mobile wallet would be a critical part of it, is what I would think, in terms of how we develop the regulation around that in Jamaica. Would be a critical input.
It's one of the hindrance right now.
I find people use WhatsApp a lot for business.
Yes.
WhatsApp, you know, rather than creating a website, I don't know what your experience is in Jamaica.
And a solid marketing tool too. For them, because all of your contacts are there. That's like the quickest way to reach them. You know, in anything that you're putting out, any communication, any new product, any new service, it's right there.
Okay, I don't want to leave out our audience, of course, our viewers sending the question, and Stacey is right there with us over in California. Stacey, this question is for you. Which businesses, or what kind of business do you think can be fully converted to a digital business?
Well, that's a great question. I think I'm ambitious, so I'll say that almost all of them can be. What I'll say is take your business, whatever your business idea is, and go online and search for that exact same name across the globe. And you can see if there are other companies that have done it successfully. Things that I thought would be very hard to do, like buying clothes, for example, especially clothes that are more fitted, I thought would be extremely difficult to do. But there are companies out there that have figured out a pattern, an algorithm of how to do it well. I definitely think that buying e-commerce, if you have a shop, putting that online is easier than ever. The only part that is a little bit difficult in Jamaica is how you get those payments. And that's why I encourage strategic partnerships with people that can help you where you may get stuck in terms of how you deal with the digital wallet that we were talking about.
One viewer asking, what is taxation like when it comes to fully digital or virtual business? Good question. It's open to anyone.
But I think I would throw to Tyrone, who is in a fully digital space. No?
Well, I think it's the same. I don't think that's something, I mean, any government would actually want it to escape at the end of the day. It's the same, but you've seen in parts around the world where companies find tax havens, you know, like Apple the other day with Ireland and so forth, with benefits to, you know, expand, but it's going to be the same over time.
Okay.
So wherever you collect your revenues, you're going to pay your taxes for those revenues.
And
that's
sometimes double taxation.
And double,
which is more
yes.
dangerous.
And we have some double taxation treaties which make it easier.
Right.
But you have to work out how to file those returns
Yes.
and do it legally.
Yes.
You know, an opportunity there, if anybody want to take it on, is really making things easier for Jamaican entrepreneurs to open businesses.
Yes.
If you can find a way to simplify that for Jamaicans, that's a great opportunity. Just saying.
Professor Giles, you're in the business. We're in the business of producing graduates to meet the market. Here's a question that I would love for you to share with us. Do you think that small economies and countries such as ours can be ready to benefit fully from the fourth industrial revolution, especially as this is dependent on the internet? Are we ready?
Yes, I think we are ready. And one of the most important things is for both private and public sectors to invest in our young people. Young people are digital natives, whereas persons my age and older, we are digital migrants. Right. I remember the first cell phone coming to Jamaica, the fridge, they used to call it. Many young people don't even know what the fridge looked like. But in the digital space, this is something that they have grown up with, and they are comfortable in it. And young people are natural risk takers. And so if we can invest in mentoring our young people, I think it provides one of the greatest opportunities for impacting Jamaica and transforming our society and our economy into a digital one.
And just before Stacey leaves us, because we're running out of time just now, Stacey, you have the benefit of Jamaica and another country, US. What is the difference, would you say, generally?
In terms of digital entrepreneurship?
Yes.
Well, I do believe some of the challenges in terms of payment processing and just access were a problem. But I do think because of the pandemic, there are we've opened up our borders. And so the opportunities now are broader than ever. And so I do think some of the challenges are just how to access tools that maybe were not as accessible, or training that was maybe not accessible unless you were on site and in person. But I'm excited because I think now people see that even if you are a US citizen, you may be working from the other side of the world. And so there's opportunities there now to get access to the supplies you need, the services you need, even if you're in Jamaica.
Another social media question coming up. In what way has COVID-19 accelerated the need for more digital entrepreneur? Tyrone.
Well, I think it has changed the entire perception of how we do business, not just in Jamaica, but around the world. And I mean, even when we look here, you know, I see a lot of restaurants beginning to deliver, like quick service restaurants who are now delivering and so forth. And we've seen several startups in terms of food delivery, right? We've seen several solutions as it relates to e-commerce platforms, education, schools. Just look at, how we've been disrupted and how we have to come up with solutions to really change the game. Couple companies like One-on-One, Edifocal, who are doing some, real pivoting to ensure that individuals continue to learn from primary and prep school to high school, universities and so forth. So that's changed a lot, but I think, once we remain entrepreneurial, like Joan Duncan, to see the opportunities and be pioneers. She was pioneer in the financial services. We have to now be pioneers in the payment services, in education and so forth, so that Jamaica is not left in the dust, because we're now in the fourth industrial revolution. So it's very important for us now.
Thanks. Thank you very much, Tyrone. Stacey, what's your final word?
I just say be bold. This is an opportunity where some people are going to be very successful, and there are others that are going to be challenged. But I encourage people, if you have an idea, now is the time. Everything that I mentioned today is easier now to do than ever before. So be fearless and be bold.
Thank you, and thank you so much for joining us for this wonderful lecture, the Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture, the 7th lecture, and this has been simply great. Many thanks to all those who made it possible. Thanks to the Joan Duncan School of Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership at the University of Technology, Jamaica, the JMMB Joan Duncan Foundation, Mr. Tyrone Wilson, founder, president, and CEO of iCreate Institute, and Ms. Stacey Kirk, CEO of Quality Works Consulting Group. Thank you for tuning to this program. We look forward to seeing you next year. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon. And remember, wear your mask, sanitize, and practice social distancing.
Reduce your risk of viral illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing with a tissue